This is the promised attachment on fighting forced labor, originally from a hearing from March 18th, 2021, and a later hearing from earlier this month, or this last summer, or from later last summer. And this is just an excerpt having to do with China, as well as South Asia and the global South. The issue is defacto slavery. Boycotting the products of slavery worked in fighting the Confederacy. The migration, especially in Britain, the migration of slaves had more of an impact. The boycott of Xinjiang cotton and tomatoes is problematic during a pandemic, but generally cannot succeed as a standalone action. Even though it may hurt in the short run, we should still do it. To make a boycott work, we cannot do so alone. At minimum, Islamic nations must join us in this, and linking the cause of the Uygurs to the new Silk Road, or also known as the Belt Road. The ethnic Turkmen range from modern Turkey to Xinjiang, so a little solidarity on their part could go a long way. If we do go this route, the whole effort to interfere in Iran must end. We cannot be with South Asian Muslims on some things and expect solidarity with them on others. On the moral front, I'm not sure we have much room to talk, as I said again later. We hold migrants in stark conditions prior to deportation. If you doubt it, visit the Lewisburg Federal Prison. Also stop in the prison industries factory while you're there, or just look at your desk. It was made by prisoners. Just look down. It says the euphemism doesn't hide the fact that it's prison industries that build it. Visit any food processing plant with large immigrant workforces. Send some people undercover, and you'll see how many workers are trafficked and how local law enforcement reacts when they decide they want to leave. Examine the plight of sex workers in the United States and see how many of their pimps have arrangements with local police. This is changing, but it's not changing fast enough or everywhere. There are trafficking task forces, but they are the exception. Our best weapon, then, is our example. As long as slavery exists in the United States, our moral voice is compromised. Again, I'm not saying to ignore the situation in China. I'm saying to go all in to really fight slavery. Also, call it slavery. On the same subject, examine Chinese treatment of peasant workers at their factories. They have a two-level society, and American consumers benefit from this. Our commitment to abolishing slavery cannot live only in the fringes. It can't just be a trade policy issue. It's going to hit consumers a bit. Look at your breakfast. It was mostly made by slaves, including or people who were held in some kind of peonage. Think about that when you have your orange juice or your screwdriver in the evening. Poor farmers can either be individual or tenant farmers who are essentially peons. The drive for lower food prices for American consumers comes at a human cost. This is especially true when only one buyer dominates the market, especially the case for export to America. If not often, dull pineapple was an issue back when I was in college, and I'm sure that the fact that there's a fair trade movement shows that there is a problem. Movements don't happen because things are hunky-dory due to capitalism. Poor factory workers never have access to collective bargaining overseas. This also drives down wages in American factories, often those with immigrant labor bearing the brunt of working conditions, poor wages, and lax enforcement. The major difference is that being blacklisted in the United States for attempting to organize is rarely deadly, as it sometimes is in South America. Improved enforcement takes money and the willingness to accept higher food prices. More inspectors with more authority are needed at home and abroad. Government or third-party inspection is vital to make sure work is safe. And by government, I mean the federal government, states have not been doing a good job because conditions persist. Workers need to be fairly compensated and able to organize. We cannot expect worker protection in China or Guatemala if we do not insist on it in North Carolina and Alabama, and of course, let's not forget Florida. And that's the last of the 3 attachments. Thank you.